As the early autumnal sun rises over the Belfry, nothing is being left to chance. The Brabazon course's 18 holes will be prepared to near perfection in order to provide the best possible conditions for the 34th Ryder Cup. From September the 28th, though, it's down to the players. And there's plenty to live up to as we take a look at the last decade of matches. Hold tight.
In '91 is probably the peak of just hostility amongst everybody, fans, and a little bit amongst the players too, I guess.
I'm sure about that, Paul.
No, I agree with you. No, we did that on 7. I agree with you. We did that. Definitely did on 7.
There was a bit of gamesmanship here and there, and a few comments were twisted by the press.
On the par 5, we just screwed up. Okay,
all the players got along fabulously. There was no animosity whatsoever.
And when the players did get down to business, some of the golf was inspirational. The Americans were really up for it, but so were the Europeans. But nothing was going to stop the home team.
I just hit a great shot, and I ran after it to see how close it was going to be. I finally got a point in the Ryder Cup. That was the first time, so it was pretty exciting for me.
It all came down to the final putt of the week, and the pressure was just a little too much for some to take.
I was with a bunch of friends, and honest to goodness, I left the room because I couldn't find myself to root against Bernhard.
I gave it my best, and that's all I can do, and that's all anybody can ask of me.
Bernhard's just missed the putt, and there was no, oh, I'm terribly sorry about that, mate. It was just wallop.
On a wave of emotion, America had won back the Ryder Cup.
And then, to top it all, we then got a Christmas card with a picture of Dave Stockton coming out the ocean, you know, soaking wet, holding the Ryder Cup. Rejoice.
But 2 years later at the Belfry, Tom Watson was the ideal man to restore Sam Ryder's sporting vision, while still keen to win, of course.
As a captain, you can't do anything. You just make the teams, send them out to play, and that's about it.
But Tom got it right in '93 as the Americans held their nerve for the first time round the Belfry.
As a player, you're playing for your country, you're playing for your teammates. There's a lot more pressure playing that way than just playing for yourself.
And if proof is needed, just ask Costantino Rocca. 3 putts on the 17th opened the door for the Americans on that final day. A moment for the Italian to forget. But for another rookie, the week will be remembered for better things.
Well, I usually have one of those days, but it was one of those weeks, really. I mean, I hit a lot of greens and gave myself a lot of chances, which I did convert. And in the singles match I played against Corey Pavin, I think I had 23 putts, and he had 24 putts. So that was a hell of a putting competition, really. You know, the actual whole experience, for me, you know, was absolutely fantastic.
But for his team, it ended in defeat. America's first win at the Belfry, an objective achieved for Watson.
That week was as pressure-packed as any week I've ever spent in professional golf, being the captain. You could see it on my players' faces, what a relief it was that night. Nobody stayed up and partied. I was the last person to bed. It was about 12:30, and everybody else was asleep. It was great being captain and being able to be a part of it like that. I'd like to be captain again.
So, defeat number 2 for Bernhard Gallagher. Third time lucky at Oak Hill?
It was 1 point at Key Island. It was a couple of matches that went the wrong way in '93, and then we won in '95.
And you know the tide's turning your way when your team deliver 2 aces. The first coming from Rocca in the pairs. The second from Howard Clark during the memorable Sunday singles. But as the Ryder Cup drew to a close, the final destiny of the Cup rested in the hands of rookie Philip Walton.
Well, I just felt bad for Philip. He was all this pressure was on him. Everybody in the world's watching him, and somehow got to get a half with J Haas up the last.
All I could hear was USA being chanted. I could feel the hair in the back of my head actually moving. And my legs started to shake, my right leg started to shake. Frightening. And I just played a shot, just got it up above the grass line, about 15 feet short of the hole.
You may think 2 putts to half your match is uneasy, but it isn't as easy as you think.
So I just rolled up to it 6 inches. Didn't really hit me what it was all about. We had guys like Rocket, Ballesteros, Fallow running on and actually crying. It was scary really to see these guys melt. I haven't played well since that.
But at last, a win for Gallagher.
Playing at the Ryder Cup, everybody knows that it's always been very special for me, and winning as a player it's been very special, and winning as the captain and playing in Spain was very, very special too.
And as Valderrama welcomed the Ryder Cup for the very first time, it was soon very clear who was in charge. Seve didn't miss one single moment of it.
He was amazing. I mean, he just lived, ate and breathed the Ryder Cup. He never slept a wink, I don't think, all night. He took up smoking, I think, that week, and drinking and all the stuff he shouldn't have been doing. He did everything, and I'm sure that the American team at the end of the week were playing him and not us.
And leading the American challenge, Tiger Woods.
And this is a precision course. This is a Ben Hogan course. This is not a Tiger Woods course.
For once, the pundits got it right, but it was a course that suited the Europeans, and Seve allegedly had nothing to do with the win.
I have done nothing really as the team. They play great, very consistent. Before the singles on Sunday, it was the first time in the history of the Ryder Cup that every player make 1 point, and I think that speaks for himself.
Definitely Seve's Ryder Cup.
And then there was Brookline.
If you don't find your own motivation to play in the Ryder Cup, you don't belong there.
And over those 3 days, the 24 men proved that every last one of them knew just what the Ryder Cup was all about.
We had a lot of fun together, and I mean, he gets excited even if I hold 2-foot putts. That's the way he is.
We did remarkably well with such a young team. To get 13.5 points as we did, if you like, was remarkable effort in that cauldron that we found in Boston.
And on that final day, the Americans were irresistible. 4 points down going into the singles. A historic final day at Brookline.
I felt like we were in the fourth quarter of an American football game, and we were 3 points down. We were driving hard. We weren't going to kick a field goal. We were actually going in for the touchdown, and no time left on the clock, you know. And I mean, there's a certain amount of joy behind that can't be held back, you know.
At that point, there was no thought process, just sheer excitement.
I think we were outplayed. I think the way they played and the stuff that was flying into the hole from all angles, I don't think tactics would have made much difference. They came out screeching, and that's what you've got to do in this game.
They believed in themselves, despite some fantastic play by the Europeans, but today, I tell you, it's up in the trees. It's fate.
The Belfry's ready. Stand by for a classic encounter.
Countdown to the Ryder Cup is sponsored by Rolex.